Favorite meal, apologize. Be good all week, and I might let her stay next weekend. Defy me, and you'll see how real my warnings are. No debate. Understood? I smirked, saving the screenshot for Owen. Adrian was unhinged, his arrogance a ticking bomb. He texted again, each message dumber, but I stayed silent, letting him dig his grave. That night, Claire slept in the guest room, and I locked my door, the cameras humming, capturing every move. Monday morning, I waited till Claire left, then checked the footage, nothing odd, just her showering and bolting without breakfast. Rachel texted at 10:45, papers served at 10:15. Claire stunned but silent. I expected a call, a text, but got nothing. At 11 o'clock, I met an architect for a client project, keeping busy. By 3:12 p.m., an alert pinged, someone was in my house. I texted Owen, pulling up the live feed. Claire and a stranger, a wiry guy in a hoodie, beeline for my office. He booted my computer, plugged in a flash drive, his movements quick, deliberate, planting something. Claire packed her belongings, shoving clothes into bags, her face tense. They left fast, unaware the cameras caught it all, the guy's face clear as day. Owen called. Head home, play cool, he said. They'll likely call the cops, tonight or tomorrow. Be ready. Could I get arrested? I asked, nerves creeping in. Possible, he admitted. If they do, say nothing. I've got Michael Donovan, a top criminal defense guy, on standby with your footage. I nodded, trusting him. That night passed quietly, no cops, no texts. I ate a sandwich, watched TV, my mind on high alert. Tuesday, while grabbing supplies, another alert hit, someone in the house. The feed showed cops tampering with my alarm, then it went dark. Owen texted, caught it. Sent to Michael. An hour later, 2 officers arrived at my shop, no drama, just cuffs and Miranda rights. They asked questions, but I stayed mute, Owen's advice my shield. At the station, they took my phone and wallet, tossing me in a cell with 4 others, the air thick with tension. 3 hours later, a guard pulled me to a meeting room. A man in a sharp suit waited, early 40s, dark hair, calm as steel. Mr. Bennett, he said, extending a hand. Michael Donovan, your lawyer. I frowned. I didn't call you. He smiled. Owen did. You're in a mess, but I've got the recordings. We'll clean this up. We strategized, his confidence a lifeline. Mid-talk, Adrian strutted in, smirking like he'd won. Well, he drawled, sitting across from me. You get it now, don't you? You're done. I stayed silent, my face blank. He leaned in, voice low. What's this, playing tough? Your word against mine, a nobody versus me. Who's the judge gonna believe? I didn't flinch. He scoffed. Fine, stew in here. We'll talk tomorrow. He left, his smugness a fuel I'd use later. That afternoon, Michael returned with Thomas Bradley, a blonde lawyer with a no-nonsense vibe. Nathan tried you this morning, Thomas said. When he couldn't reach you, we knew they'd grabbed you. Charges are flimsy, computer fraud, planted evidence. Adrian's sloppy, and we've got proof. I exhaled, hope rising. What now? Court tomorrow, Thomas said. Bail's high, $25K, but Owen's covering it. Stay quiet, even if they push. I nodded, steeling myself. The night in the cell was hell, hard bench, stale air, but I held firm. Morning came, and I pleaded not guilty to the charges. Bail hit, and by afternoon, I was free, restricted to town, barred from contacting Claire or Adrian. At a diner, Thomas laid it out, the arrest was rushed, sloppy. Adrian's visit was illegal, you were off limits. This is a setup, and we'll prove it. What about my house? I asked, dreading the worst. Did they trash it? Let's check, he said, driving me home. The house was quiet, but my office felt wrong. My computer was on, the drawer open, my business backup drive gone. They took it, I said, panic rising. Thomas called Owen. They're ahead, but we've got the footage, Owen said. Stay calm, Lucas. Days later, Thomas called with a bombshell, charges dropped. The investigator, a no-nonsense type, saw through Adrian's game, charging him with blackmail, evidence tampering, and illegal possession. Claire caught a conspiracy charge, her role undeniable. Relief hit, but I braced for the next fight. Rachel arranged a meeting with Claire before the divorce finalized. At her office, Claire looked drained, her fire gone. I'm ashamed, Lucas, she said, tears falling. Adrian had me fooled. I didn't see it till your charges dropped, till I faced my own. I've quit the firm, cut him off. I'm sorry. I stood, unmoved. I wish you well, Claire, I said. But we're done. She took a plea, gave evidence against Adrian, and left town. I never saw her again. Adrian's empire crumbled, his schemes hit the news, more victims came forward. With my footage as evidence, he got 12 years. I sued him and his firm, netting $2 million after a brutal legal fight. I shared a chunk with Owen, despite his protests, a thank you for his loyalty. Life moved on. My business soared, new contracts flooding in. I hired more crew, good folks who felt like family. At a barbecue with Owen and Clara, I met Clara's sister, Nora, a spark I hadn't felt in years. Months later, I visited Adrian in prison, his face twisted with hate. You screwed yourself, I told him, grinning. Enjoy the jumpsuit. I walked out, the future wide open, my heart finally free. Clara frowned, her voice soft but firm. He's dangerous, Lucas. But he's also sloppy. That's our edge. Owen leaned forward, all business. The recording's gold, but we can't use it yet. You're legally clear, it's your house, your system, but we need to play smart. Adrian's not just some rich jerk. He's Reginald Voss's son, the guy who founded GBH Partners. Reginald wasn't a genius, he had connections, judges, DAs, law firms, all his old cronies. Adrian's riding that wave, which makes him tough to crack. My heart sank. So I'm screwed no matter what? Not screwed, Owen said, his voice steady. It's a fight, but we've got leverage. That tape's a start, but we need more, proof he acts on those threats. If he plants files on your computer, we've got him cold. His buddies won't touch him if it's public. Hope flickered, faint but real. What's the plan? Owen outlined it, keep the cameras rolling, avoid my computer to prove I hadn't touched it, and wait for Adrian to slip. He's cocky, Owen said. Cocky guys make mistakes. Clara handed me a small gray device. This is from Sophie Marwood, a tech PI we work with, she said. It'll log any remote attempts to hack your network. She's on standby. I nodded, gripping the device like a talisman. And Claire? Divorce now or wait? Owen's eyes met mine, steady. Your call, Lucas. If you're done, we file tomorrow. Rachel Vaughn's the best family lawyer I know, she'll make it clean. File, I said, no hesitation. There's nothing left to save. Owen clapped my shoulder. Done. Rachel'll call in the morning. They left past 11 p.m., and I popped a sleeping pill, exhaustion finally winning. For the first time that day, I slept, a dreamless void that offered no answers but a brief escape. Friday morning, Rachel's call woke me at 8:30. She'd spoken to Owen, knew the stakes. Can you meet at 11 o'clock? She asked. I arrived at her office, a no-nonsense space with law books lining the walls. Rachel, a brisk woman in her 50s, shook my hand firmly. I'm sorry you're in this mess, Lucas, she said. I've dealt with Adrian Voss's type before, a real snake. She dove in. Good news, you bought the house before marrying Claire. Her name's not on the deed, it's yours, untouchable. Your business is safe too, the marriage contract's ironclad. She can't force a sale or take a cut. Relief hit, but a worry lingered. What about alimony? Could she bleed me dry? Rachel smiled, dialing Owen, who arrived in minutes. Relax, Lucas, he said, grinning. Your business is yours. Claire's got her own income, she won't get a dime unless you keel over. Rachel laid out the financial split, clean and fair. We'll serve Claire the papers Monday at her office, she said. It'll hit hard and fast. I left by 12:30, a weightlifting. I grabbed a new work phone, replacing the one Adrian smashed, and spent the weekend in my backyard shop, sanding oak planks, the rhythm soothing my nerves. I braced for Claire's return, deciding she'd take the guest room, my bedroom was off limits. Sunday evening, I moved her clothes there, locking my door and pocketing the key. At 7 p.m., Adrian's Bentley purred into the driveway. I flipped on the surveillance, my pulse steady. Claire waved him off, then sauntered in, her face a mask of false cheer. Hey, sweetie, she chirped. How's your day? I stayed on the couch, eyes on a book, voice flat. Fine. Her smile faltered, her mask slipping. Oh, great, keep sulking, she snapped, venom lacing her words. Victor said you'd pull this, typical, Lucas. You're too dense to get what I need, too childish to own your failures. I didn't bite, my voice calm. Whatever you say. She stormed upstairs, then screeched, Lucas Bennett, did you lock our bedroom? I stood, meeting her gaze. That's my bedroom now, I said. Your stuff's in the guest room. That's your spot till you're gone. This is insane, she shouted, her face red. Wait till Adrian hears this, it's not what we agreed. I raised an eyebrow, playing dumb. Agreed? What deal? Her lips tightened, but she said nothing, slamming the guest room door. My phone pinged, a text from an unknown number, Voss here. Heard you locked Claire out. Thought I was clear. Even a dimwit like you should get it. I'll let this slide tonight. Tomorrow, cook her. Claire hurried downstairs, her heels clicking, and flung the door open before he could knock. Sorry to keep you waiting, Adrian, she said, her voice soft, syrupy, nothing like the ice she'd thrown at me. My husband's forgotten his manners. Adrian swaggered in, his tailored coat brushing the doorframe, his cologne sharp and expensive. Well, well, he said, his eyes locking on me, a smirk playing on his lips. Heard you're not thrilled about Claire joining me this weekend, carpenter boy. My blood boiled, my grip tightening on the bottle. You've got 5 seconds to get the hell out of my house, I said, my voice low, or I'm calling the cops. He laughed, slow and taunting, glancing at Claire, who smirked in sync. Go ahead, call M, he said, leaning back, casual as if he owned the air. See how far that gets you. Think they'll care? Guess again. His gaze flicked to my shirt pocket, narrowing. Wait a sec, are you recording this? Before I could react, he lunged, snatching my phone, my work phone, not my personal one. He checked the locked screen, sneered, and tossed it to the floor. Glass shattered, the sound like a gunshot. His voice dropped, menacing. Listen up, you nobody. Claire's mine this weekend, whether you like it or not. She'll be with me whenever I damn well please. Your opinion? Doesn't mean squat. Cross me, and you'll regret it. A whisper to my wife, a guilt trip to Claire, or any stunt, and it gets ugly. Ever think what happens when shady files show up on your computer? Or rumors of money laundering start circling? A few clicks, and your life's trash. I've got your number, Lucas. Every muscle screamed to lunge, to wipe that smirk off his face, but I held steady. He wanted a reaction, a meltdown to prove he'd won. I wasn't giving it to him. Sounds simple, I said, my voice calm, baiting him. Plant some junk, click a few times, ruin a guy. But if it's illegal, doesn't that screw you too? Holding that stuff's a crime, right? He grinned, wider, eating up his own hype. That's the difference between us, he said, his voice smooth, dripping with arrogance. What's a crime for you? For me, it's nothing. People with money, connections, the right friends, we don't play by your rules. He sighed, like he was bored. Stick to your little blue-collar morals, carpenter. Leave the big game to those who know how to win. Catch my drift? I couldn't believe his audacity, his words straight out of a bad movie. But he meant every syllable, his ego a fortress. Then, for good measure, he added, oh, and don't even think about pushing back against me or Claire. With that, he turned, motioning for her to follow. She didn't hesitate, grabbing her bag and breezing past me, her eyes avoiding mine, like I was nothing. The door slammed, and their car roared away. I wasn't just angry, I was electrified, my mind racing with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Adrian thought he'd cowed me, but he'd miscalculated. A year before Claire, a break-in had spooked me into installing a top-tier security system, cameras catching every angle, mics picking up every word, all streaming to a secure cloud I could access anytime. Claire didn't know it could run 24/7, even when we were home. And yeah, I'd flipped it on the moment I saw her car in the driveway. Adrian's threats, his smug confession, her complicity, it was all recorded, crystal clear. I grabbed my personal phone, untouched by his tantrum, and called Owen Carver, my lawyer and brother-in-law. Owen had married my sister, Beatrice, a decade ago, but her drowning on a trip to Guatemala had gutted us all. He'd stayed family, remarried to Clara, a woman who became like a sister to me. They were my rock, and right now, I needed their steel. Owen answered, his voice calm but alert. Lucas? What's wrong? I'm in deep, I said, steadying my breath. I spilled everything, Claire's betrayal, Adrian's threats, the smashed phone. Owen didn't flinch. Clara and I'll be there in an hour, he said. Bring food, lock it down. Don't text or call anyone else. Sit tight. While I waited, my mind replayed the scene, each word a spark to my resolve. Claire had traded our marriage for Adrian's wealth, his swagger, discarding years like they were nothing. I thought back to how we'd started, 5 years ago, at a friend's barbecue, her laugh catching me off guard, her wit keeping me hooked. A year later, we were married, her ambition a flame I admired, my carpentry business a quiet pride. I'd worked for Old Man Hargrove, a master woodworker, learning the craft while keeping his books. When he retired, my parents helped me buy his shop, and I'd built it into something, 2 employees, contracts with high rollers, a bank account that outpaced some of Claire's lawyer pals. She hadn't noticed, or hadn't cared. The doorbell snapped me back. Owen and Clara stood there, arms full of Chinese takeout and a 6-pack of craft beer. You okay, Lucas? Clara asked, pulling me into a hug, her warmth a lifeline. Not really, I admitted, managing a grim smile. Owen clapped me on the shoulder, his eyes steady. We'll sort this, brother. Let's eat and talk. Over lo mein and IPAs, I laid out every detail, Adrian's threats, Claire's coldness, the surveillance. After dinner, I fired up my laptop, pulling up the footage. The audio was razor-sharp, Adrian's voice dripping with arrogance, Claire's silence damning. Owen's jaw tightened. "This guy's a piece of work," he muttered. "Thinks he's untouchable. Picture this, a smug, silver spoon-fed hotshot waltzes into my house, my sanctuary, and declares he's stealing my wife for a weekend fling. Just when I think it can't get worse, he starts slinging threats like he's the king of the universe, daring me to blink. My blood boiled, every instinct screaming to wipe that grin off his face with a well-aimed fist. But I held back. Real revenge isn't a quick burst, it's a slow, calculated burn that hits where it hurts most. And trust me, it did. Not only did I make sure he ended up behind bars, but I walked away from the wreckage with a pile of cash from the divorce. Stick around, because you're gonna love how this played out. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I'd just tossed my tools into the bed of my pickup after a grueling day at work. I'm Lucas Bennett, 35, a carpenter who runs a small custom staircase business in a sleepy Indiana town. Think grand mansions, boutique hotels, upscale restaurants, places where folks drop 50 grand on a spiral oak masterpiece just to flex their wealth. I'd been wrestling with a picky client for weeks, a guy who couldn't decide between mahogany and walnut, his indecision dragging projects out. But his latest flip-flop handed me a rare free Friday, a break I hadn't seen coming. I'd been married to Claire Donovan for 4 years. At 28, she's a razor-sharp lawyer, all fire and focus, climbing the ranks at a powerhouse firm, Carter, Walsh & Pierce, specializing in commercial disputes. Her ambition burned bright, she wanted her name on the letterhead before even thinking about kids. We'd agreed to wait, building our dreams side by side. Or so I thought. I pulled into our driveway around 4 p.m., expecting an empty house. Claire's car, a sleek silver Audi, sat parked, which threw me off. Thursdays were her late nights, grinding away to outshine her colleagues. Seeing her home early didn't add up. Curious, I slipped in through the back door, my boots leaving faint dust on the hardwood. The water pressure felt odd, weak, like someone was using the shower. Claire wasn't a mid-afternoon shower type, she stuck to mornings or before bed. Something was up. I swapped my work clothes for a t-shirt and jeans, then headed upstairs. Sure enough, there she was, fresh from the bathroom, toweling her hair, slipping into black fishnet stockings. A new black dress lay draped across the bed, its tag still attached, screaming expensive. "Hey, hon," I said, keeping my tone light despite the knot in my gut. "Did I forget plans? We hitting the town tonight?" Claire sighed, heavy and deliberate, like she was steeling herself. "No, Lucas, you didn't miss anything," she said, her voice cool. "I'm going out tonight. Alone. Won't be back till Sunday afternoon. I'm staying with Adrian Voss for the weekend." Her words hit like a sledgehammer. I stood frozen, my brain scrambling to process. "Hold up," I said, my voice tightening. "What's that mean? Some work thing?" She met my eyes, her gaze hard as flint. "Not work," she said, clipped. "Adrian booked us a getaway. I'll see you next week. This weekend's his." The room spun, my chest tightening like a vice. "You're kidding, right?" I said, stepping closer. "You're telling me you're ditching me to run off with another guy? What the hell, Claire?" She didn't flinch, her expression cold, unyielding. "You'd better get used to it, Lucas," she said. "This is how Adrian wants it." I blinked, dumbfounded, my anger rising like a tide. "Let me get this straight," I said, my voice low, shaking. "You expect me to sit here, twiddling my thumbs, while you're off with him, then act like it's no big deal come Monday?" A smirk curled her lips, sharp and cruel. "I didn't say it's a one-time thing," she said. "Adrian's made it clear this could be regular. Life'll be easier if you just deal with it." Fury surged, hot and blinding. "Claire, you'd better rethink this," I said, my hands balling into fists. "If you think I'm gonna let some arrogant prick waltz in and treat me like I'm invisible, you're in for a rude awakening." She ignored me, turning back to the mirror, primping like my words were background noise. I stormed downstairs, my heart pounding, and yanked a beer from the fridge, the cold glass grounding me as I popped the cap. I needed to think, to plan. That's when I heard it, the low growl of a luxury engine pulling up. A black Bentley gleamed in my driveway. Adrian Voss had arrived. I'd met him once, at Claire's firm's holiday party 2 years back. Mid-40s, always suited up like he was closing a billion-dollar deal, dripping with a smugness you could choke on. Women fawned, he soaked it up. Guys like me? He barely acknowledged us, his handshake limp, his eyes sliding past like we were furniture. Now, he was here, in my house, thinking he owned it.